Hello, and welcome to As Built, the podcast from Graphic Machine about architecture firms, buildings, and how both get built. I am your co-host, Patience Jones. With me is
Brian Jones,
your other co-host. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are talking about making the connection between print and digital. What do we mean?
It's not holding a piece of paper up to the monitor. It's not what we're suggesting here, just to be clear. It's a little different than that.
If you're doing that, you're doing it all wrong.
Yeah. No, I think what we're talking about here is really the connection between when you do a piece, whether it be an advertisement or, your printed collateral for your firm, and then how that connects back to your digital experiences. So your social and your web. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yes. Well, and there was a specific example that you had come across, which is what prompted this.
Yeah, I had been looking through Architectural Record and was looking at an ad that was in there. And I thought, oh, this is a really interesting product. And I went to their website and they used the exact same image that was in the photo as the homepage image of their website. And then it turned into a video, which I thought was really great and immersive and clever. And I think it was such a great thing because I knew immediately, oh, I found the right place. I didn't mistype the domain name. I didn't search for the wrong thing. I absolutely found the right place, which I think is a big part of that experience is like, did I get the right place?
Absolutely. And I think there are a number of different kind of, wayfinders or markers or something that can be incorporated into a print piece to make sure that people do make that connection and understand, oh, this is the same firm.
Yep. I mean, it could be, you can use your standard domain, but you could also have a special domain that's unique for that printed piece. There's always a possibility that redirects to a particular part of your website or redirects to a special landing page or whatever the thing happens to be.
The benefit to doing that is that it allows you a better way to track how many people have come to your website because they saw this ad or print piece.
I'd say a QR code is definitely another one to think about on that front. It's a very easy to interact with piece that people are becoming much more familiar with and like the use of. But again, it boils down to that, if there's an image in your, whatever they're interacting with, it should be the same when whatever they land on so that they know they got to the right place.
Your logo should be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Your typeface should be the same. The look and feel of the print piece should be the same as the look and feel of your website, which is the same as the look and feel of your presentation materials. Sometimes when firms do like partnerships or advertorials or something like that, they don't have as much control over how that piece looks because the piece is supposed to look like a piece of editorial content. So it's not going to have your look and feel. It's going to have the look and feel of the publication. But then it's really important to make sure, your logo is correct. The photography is the same as what's on your site or on your digital channels so that people do understand, yes, this is the same.
Well, and I think that the advertorial thing that you bring up is really interesting relative to the search antenna of that, because a lot of times people will read about a name of a project in this piece, and then they will search for that name rather than searching for your firm name, or they might remember that, and that's the part that they search for. So understanding whether or not your site is optimized to capture that intended traffic so that they find you is really important. And that's something to think about when you're doing these pieces, that you should already have that done before you go down the path of getting the thing printed, because otherwise you won't get the full benefit of doing the work. Most
non-architects, when they read a consumer architecture publication, you're exactly right. They will remember, if they remember any words, they will remember the name, the title of the article, or they will remember what the project was called in the article. So, glamour-filled farmhouse or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. They're probably not going to remember the name of the architecture firm.
And if you're supporting that project too, and you aren't a firm, but you're a building material, or you're a construction company, like it's the same thing for you as well, because it's one of those things where you have to really think about what are people looking for, and did they come looking for your part of the puzzle, or did they come looking for the design firm? So just it's all relevant for those audiences.
Yeah. And it may sometimes behoove you, depending on how significant the project is, how important it is to your business development, to buy digital advertising on that name, so that when people search for, glamour-filled farmhouse, they see a link to your site and a little description that says, like, we were the architects for this project that was featured in whatever, Architectural Digest or Dwell.
I think that brings up a really great point of the idea of buying temporal ads that are for that exact purpose, which is a really good tactic to employ. Because
thank you.
Oh yeah, because you are hitting the trend of that moment, which is that if there's anybody interested in, it's going to be during that window of when that article is out and present. So why not try to capture the maximum amount that you could from that article? It's really, I think it's something that sometimes places will neglect to do. And I feel like you're always leaving opportunity left out there that could have been yours to interact with.
Yeah, because there is the month or two where that thing is out in the world and people are looking at it, and that's maybe all that you need to do advertising wise. You don't need to buy the key term glamour-filled farmhouse for a year and a half. You just need to have it out while people are seeing this, while it's in front of them, so that they can find you, because they're not going to have, even if there's a URL printed in the publication, nobody's writing that down, nobody's typing it in. But
and if your name is hard to remember or has a complicated spelling, that just adds insult to injury. So,
or if the individual architect at your firm that worked on the project is not listed on your website, or you don't have bio pages, they're going to look for that person and they're not going to find you.
Yeah, such a great point, because, you really end up in a situation where they are actually trying to find out more about the project and can't. And
yeah,
they may have seen it in a waiting room. They may have seen it, at a office, and then they don't have access to it anymore, or they threw it away without thinking about it. So yeah, you've got to meet them where they are, and you've got to anticipate what they might be looking for when they're looking for you, and make sure that you're found there.
Yeah, non-architect people tend to not look at those consumer publications as study guides. They are a passive form of entertainment,
yep,
recreation, and information, probably in that order. It's when the person has a need and then they say, oh, wait a minute, I think I saw something in Dwell. What was that thing? Oh, the name of the project was this. Let me look for that. Let me find the architect.
And it's interesting because the things that you seed may take years to bear fruit. And, you want to nurture things along the way and bring them into the fold that they can become more familiar with your firm. And this is a great on-ramp for that. And it's don't overlook it. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Really try to not think of the two media as separate. It's how can you make all of these things work together? And there's a channel in the opposite direction of how do you use your digital channels to talk about the places that you were featured in print. Now, if you've bought a print ad, you don't do advertising about the fact that you bought an ad. But if you were published, where on your digital channels do you promote that?
And a great example that we haven't really touched on specifically yet is paid social, where you may want to promote the exact same projects that were talked about on paid social to the same audiences, because the chance that you could capture more of their attention is, well, it's a modest investment for something that could really pay big dividends for your firm.
Mm-hmm. And the more people see it, very few people will take action on something the first time they see it. They have to see it multiple times in multiple places before they will do anything about it.
Absolutely. So what are the takeaways here?
Takeaways are print is not an island, and it will help you get more out of your investment if you are thinking about the ways that print can tie back to digital when you're planning out what your print initiative is.
And I think the important word there is initiative, and that it isn't just a singular ad with nothing else that you think about. It's a part of an ecosystem of things that you're doing to help capture attention. Because at the end of the day, if you're not thinking about it as attention that you're trying to capture, then you're missing the whole opportunity that exists for you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.